Morning. Let's move this out of the way. Alright, mic test. Let's see. It's dark. Alright, let's see what we got today. Let me know if the mic is too loud. I think it should be okay. I haven't messed with the settings since last time. Morning. We have a guest, a guest joining us today. Do you want to say hi, Chubby? Say hi. No? Bye, Chubby. Where's Kuya? That's her saying hi. Where's Kuya? Okay, he's not here. It's alright. Sit. Yes, calm down. She hates a guy called Kuya, basically. Let's go back to the main screen. Right, so last time we looked at the side control bottom kind of escapes and stuff, didn't we? Which was all of this. Which was side control escapes. We looked at the three main little scenarios there, which is side control, cross chest, reverse cross chest. I'll quickly recap it. We had the frame escape, our first ever little escape we learn. I have our underhook chain, not chain but the primary move, just the frame, get your underhooks and get up. We had our backdooring, which was the near side underhook instead. That one there. Then it was the three other scenarios from side control, which are different bases basically. We had the dealing with the cross chest, which is just when the person pulls up and sits on this sort of stance. Don't worry if you guys don't have it now. Today we'll go over the top position, so it'll be a bit easier. So that's our cross chest escapes. I'll let it play just as a quick recap. Boom. That was just a 4-part chain move, but we just looked at a few of those. Then we had dealing with the reverse cross chest, which is this base here. But those are the main three that we had a look at, and then these are just some extra stuff we looked at. Tiny little bit on the neon belly, and some unusual kind of side control escapes. Jailbreak. But today we're just learning about all of these positions from the top now. So it's more of a control lesson plan instead of escapes. And these are gonna be the main sort of ways you're gonna control someone after you pass their guard. There's three main kind of ways people tend to escape. We call them technical kind of counters and strength-based counters. That they kind of fall into those two categories. A strength one would be someone trying to bench press you, or just trying to like muscle their way out of side control by like bridging or pushing, that kind of stuff. And then we have the more technical approach, which is like someone trying to pull guard, someone framing you, and that kind of stuff. Okay, so these are gonna be the ones you're gonna have to deal with the well, the only possible ways you're gonna have to deal with in terms of their escapes. So as long as you know the two types of escapes and the way to deal with them, you should have a pleasant time controlling someone. If you don't, then you're probably gonna get not gonna stabilize the position. So side control to cross chest is our first little transition, which looks like this. Now, I already passed in all of these scenarios, but the rules apply to before you actually pass and after as well. That means that if you were, let's say, over here and you're passing the guard, as soon as you get to the side control scenario, these rules will still apply, even before you get your points. So the first one is your transition to cross chest, which is our indicator for to go for the cross chest is when someone starts to pull guard on you. By pulling guard, I mean could be doing our frame escapes like this. So any sort of move where they're trying to replace by bringing any free autonomy. This is where we kind of go to our first little transition point, which is this here, which we tend to call smart knee, which is your knee right onto the hip with your own hips dipped onto the side. And you can see there's no gap for the uki's knee to go through here, and that's why it makes it effective. And that leg's nice and based, so you can chase them around while they shrimp, which is not an easy task. Once you've followed the person and you've kind of like stabilized the position on the smart knee, you can quickly pull up on their arm, and that will lead us to our cross chest scenario, which is here. Now this elbow control here is really important in terms of the person on the bottom's escapes. Okay, so on top is really valuable to have that elbow under control, because if you're here for Monday's class, pretty much half of our cross chest escapes from here relied on us getting this elbow to the mat. Okay, and once the elbow's on the mat, it's extremely hard for the guy to deal with it as the person on top. At the same time, if the person's got your elbow, it can be quite challenging to get out of there. So it's both valuable knowing as the person on top and the bottom. So here one more time. She's gonna shrimp after her yawn. Oh, this is reverse cross chest. Sorry, this one. Smart knee, chase them, pick up the elbow, and then we're there. And then front, what to do from there, there's tons of stuff. I think we'll go over them later in a bit. But this is our first little transition to cross chest, when people pull guard on you. This is the trickier one, the frames. So this could be before or after you've done the transitions there, but most of the time it's usually before. She frames your neck. Okay, now the frame can be really annoying in terms of you trying to put pressure down on someone, because it hurts your throat, and if they do a good job of the frame, it can make you really uncomfortable, making you kind of back away with your pressure, so they can get a bit more space. Okay, now if you position your head properly, you can avoid the frame, but this scenario is if the person already has the frame. So we can't stay here for too long. Well, you can if you can hold the pressure in your throat, but a really easy way to deal with it is by going to reverse cross chest, which is we bring our arm over the top and we walk to slightly north-south scenario like this. Okay, again, it's up to you what you want to do from here. There's tons of transition submissions that you can go for, but as a general rule, if someone frames you, it's a good time to go to reverse cross chest. I think some people call it modified side as well. She frames, arm goes over. And then it's just be careful. You see how I bring this arm over the other side of her hip? That's just to prevent the knee from coming in again. Because anytime you make a transition, there's a little window of escapes. So if you guys always be aware of that anytime you're kind of doing an escape, both as the person top and as the person on the bottom, that's their window to escape. So that's our frame. Someone frames, we know how to deal with it now. Go to reverse cross chest and you should be good. Now, underhook prevention, okay, which is, if I go back up here, underhooks, these ones. So this is when someone underhooks you like this, and they're trying to get up to take your back, or we don't know what they're trying to do, but they get an underhook on you. So dealing with that now. Let's see. This one. So the person at the bottom here is gonna get the underhook on me. Ooh, hold on. It just froze a little. Bear with me. There you go. Make it a bit bigger. So Kiwi here, she managed to get an underhook on me. Now there's a few counters to this, but this is the earliest one you can probably do, which is they get an underhook and you just hug their leg. And that just means the person will have a really hard time turning into you. But it's kind of a stalemate because you can't get rid of that arm from there unless the person takes their arm out of the underhook, okay? So usually it's just the kind of pinning position. Be careful going for transitions, because obviously if you start going off to the side, you have to control this hip and you have to be careful with her underhook, okay? This is the only thing preventing her from turning. So it's really important to keep it if the person's still trying to get up for the underhook. So again, let me just copy this underhook here and put it here so we know what we're talking about. So this is the underhook escape. There. And this is a really early counter to it. The underhook, you hug the leg. Okay. Moving on, we have our knee on belly scenarios. So when to go for knee on belly. You can generally go anytime you want from side control, right? But a really good time to go for it is against those people who try bench press you off, or you can't stabilize the side control as well. So you pop a knee on belly. Another good time is when they underhook you. I think that's the example I gave her. She underhooks, you pop a knee on belly. They're all right, and there's no wrong answer to when to go for knee on belly. But if you want kind of an indicator when people try to bench press you and when they underhook, those are great times when you lose an underhook. Next up is the back door, which is this one. Oops. Copy. Here. Or is it the same one? I think it's the same one. Not this one. I want this escape. This is the back door escape. This is the one we're countering now. So elbow control, big kind of like bridge, come up on top, front headlock position, kind of ends up in quite a few different entries, but that's the main one. And then the near side, so this is, we call it near side underhook, this is the counter to it. Anytime you feel that little arm going over to the other side, that means the escape is coming. So you have to give up on your far side underhook and go to this side, if that makes sense, like that. And you can hook the back of the neck like this, and if you guys do gi, you can grab the back of the gi here. And this is usually how we go for the bread cutter choke as well. So if you guys remember the bread cutter choke, this is a good setup for it. But that just prevents her from doing her little escape, which is this one here. There it is, arm goes over, that's the escape, and this is the prevention. Boom. So it's just the arm hooking behind, controlling them really well. So in terms of escapes and control, right, we had on top side control to cross chest, that's our first transition. We go to our smart knee, then we pull up there. Bread cutter is my favorite, kind of stopped using, kind of got boring. Yeah, you tend to go through phases of submissions in jiu-jitsu, and then you get bored. We go for our loop choke phases, armbar phases, guillotine. Everyone has a guillotine phase. Yeah, it just kind of keeps going, and then you just circle back to them. You just find a spark again in one of them. You find like a new detail, which makes you want to try it again. I often forget like loads of submissions, and then someone reminds me of it or asks me about it, and I remember I used to do that like 10 years ago or something. So that was our standard side control to cross chest. Someone frames you, we go into our modified, remember that. Frame, modifier. Boom. Underhook prevention. Let me fix this. This should be this title. This is our underhook escape. Now, and this is our early counter to it, which is just hugging the leg. Now, if you see a lot of fights, right? Again, like I said, this is the really early stage. I should have added some late ones. But there's quite a few other transitions that you probably need to learn. And one big one is the top spin, which you spin around to the other side. When they come up on a single leg or underhook, that's a great time to do it as well. I'm not sure, I might have it somewhere. Might be or not. It might be Let's see if I can find it somewhere. Might be in our passing lesson. These are triangles. I have so much little clips here. Nope. No. Passing. Leg weave. Oh, I don't think I have it. I thought you'd be here. Knee slice, leg weave, long step, leg drags. No. Oh, I remember. It's here, isn't it? When we go for Kimura. It'll be something like this, where obviously I'm turning her on her side in this one, but the top spin is really similar. You spin all the way around to the other side. I stopped here because I'm doing the Kimura, but that's kind of the top spin there. That's a really good kind of prevention for the underhook, and we kind of do a lot of drills on it in the gym. And the knee on belly, it's quite simple, this one. Again, lots of attacks from knee on belly. I think we'll do attacks next week, but this is a good one. We have the windshield drill as well, where we go from one knee on belly to the other side, knee on belly. That's another great little transition. The back door is the one that's a bit complicated to remember. This is the backdoor escape. Go underneath and then come up. And then it's the loop for the back door. Boom. There. Yeah, the Mendes bro loves top spins. It leads to the back a bit more, which is quite nice. Like the back, I think, is way better than the side control scenario. Let's see. Take a look at some of these attacks. I wanted to do not these ones. This one instead. The attacks we'll do another day. These are the types. So after you've obviously mastered the system of pinning someone down, so using side control, cross chest, underhooks, whatever, but you did a good job stabilizing your side controls and you remember all the rules, you have to obviously transition into scenarios, otherwise you get punished for it. And these are the types of strategies that you can have after you've stabilized each position. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be in this order. You don't have to do all of them, but here's a few. Forcing a turtle is one of my favorite ones, which is finding ways from the side control position to force someone onto their side so we can start taking their back. This could be us kind of like setting traps, or it could just be you letting enough space for the person to turn so you can take that back. But let's see what I did here. I don't even remember. Here I went from smart knee approach, okay, where I've probably stabilized the smart knee already, but instead of the elbow control I go for double underhooks like this. Then I'm gonna shrug her arm over my head, turn her onto the side, but we can get our TAC control. so we can take the back. So that's one way to force the turtle. Again, push and take the back. So that's just one way. There's like so many different variations to it, but again, this is just one strategy of forcing a turtle guard or getting turtle. Your next one is your mount transitions. Obviously, that's the one people look for the most. And again, there's so many versions of mount, but just a quick one. Here's the mount transition. And now just talk about the common little things we do wrong when we're mounting, which I do wrong as well a couple of times. One of them, well, when we were rolling, the one that used to mess me up the most used to be, until I learned how to do it, was I used to hug and keep this elbow too tight into the person, because I thought I wanted to do more pressure, so I just squeezed them harder, and it kept my kind of elbow in this like stuck position underneath them, which as I mounted used to get trapped, and I used to get bridged over quite easily. So I learned that you don't have to keep your arms clasped here to be able to mount. So I started using this walk up with your elbow kind of flared, so I have enough base and enough strength to like bring the arm up before I mount, so I don't have to worry about getting rolled over now when I bring my knee through. And there. The other thing is my feet used to get caught when I was mounting. People catch me in half guard a lot, and that was just mainly because I wasn't kind of keeping this structure underneath here and kind of sliding down the leg to push the legs and then slap my foot off to the side. And a lot of beginners, they'll just try to, step over, which is another easy way people catch your leg. So try to prevent all of those by kind of following this little sequence. So one is your elbow control is very important. You can still mount with your arms clasped, obviously. If you got decent elbow flare and decent base, should be good. And then try not to get your feet caught. That's the second big tip. This is another mount transition. This is from us stabilizing the cross chest scenario. This one is quite good, but it works in kind of like a mysterious way. When you get to reverse cross chest, which is here, and people on the bottom, they kind of like don't have any answers to it because they have attempted the shrimp, but this kind of kills the shrimp, and then they kind of just lie there for a couple of seconds, kind of giving up. It's a great time to do this. You're gonna quickly pop to mount like this, and it's kind of a good one because they don't expect it, because your base is switched completely to the other side. And the other one is you're so high up their body, it's really hard for them to bridge you over because there's no weight on your hip. Again, there, just be careful with your legs. My leg almost got caught there. And then reverse cross chest mount. This is usually my favorite. Not necessarily to mount, but to do anything. So she framed, we go to reverse cross chest. You can also do this even if they don't frame, so don't even worry. that's our cross chest base. And from here, if they protect the mount, usually you can go through this little gap and mount. There's thousands of ways of mounting here. There's arm attacks on this arm. There's back takes. There's guillotines and darces, bread cutters. So I think this is one of the most versatile kind of side control, submission and transitional kind of orientation. So I think it's a really powerful position. So here's just the mount transition there. Here's the knee and belly windshield. This should have been early on, which is that. Let me just copy it. Anytime you're bored or someone's not moving too much, you can pop that knee on belly. That will certainly cause a reaction. Let me just put it here next to the other knee on belly. So in terms of side control progression, these are just a few that you can think about. I didn't add any submissions, but submissions are the next one. But we had forcing the turtle. Can do it any way you like. That's a really good strategy. Turn them onto their side. And again, you just need to find ways. There's tons of back takes from YouTube that you can learn from side control. We have our regular mount transitions, which is more traditional. Just get side control, look for mount after. Quick mount from cross chest. Still the mount transition kind of chain. Reverse cross chest to mount. She blocks. Beautiful. And then our knee on belly kind of windshield sort of game. Boom. Okay, so which leads us to the final little thing, which is the attacks. So normally, instead of just going straight for submissions for side control, it's a good little way of, this is a good system to follow in terms of both submissions and kind of things. But look for your control kind of scenario, which are these. If you can pin someone down, happy days. Okay. Then you've got your transitions, which are these at the bottom that we just did. Forcing the turtle, mount transition, cross chest, knee on bellies. Okay. And that would tend to lead some form of opening for submissions. Okay. Because you're both moving. Sometimes the person will make mistakes. But basically you're keeping the momentum of the fight going, which allows more opening instead of just pinning someone and forcing them to go into just the survival mode where they just don't want to get submitted. So especially side control, because it's such a hard position to submit someone if they don't want to be submitted, right? If they don't want to fight back to escape and they just want to kind of survive, they will just keep their elbows tight and you won't be finding any sort of opening to find submissions. So going for these transitions here or forcing these moves will kind of force a reaction on them, and then you'll be able to kind of set up your moves, which could be arm bars, kimuras, anything to do with those. So here's your standard arm bar, where we pull to the side, frame, big step over, and then spin. So this one is one of those that you can force, But here's an example of it in a live scenario where you pop a knee on belly to get a reaction out of the person at the bottom, which is to push your knee and shrimp here. So you pick up the arm and then you go for that armbar. So that's just an example of a kind of forcing a submission against kind of like transitioning into a submission, if that makes sense. Baseball choke. So the example we gave here, again, is a knee on belly. Get your hands in and choke. Kind of a standard choke, this one. So this one would be a lot harder to do because you're kind of like, the person can see it's coming, right? Shouldn't be here. Guillotine. This is a good example of a transitional one. So here Kirsten started underhooking me and coming up. So you time everything well so you can shoot in for a guillotine. One more time. 1, 2, guillotine. So that's a reaction kind of submission. So those are really good because depending on how much effort the person on the bottom is putting into kind of an escape, they might not even be thinking about the submissions that they're putting themselves in. And this is a great example. We have omoplatas. I think this again is from an underhook one. There. And then north-south attacks. These are generally your kind of slow grinding, pressure orientated kind of setups, which is you don't lose any of the position. You don't give the person on the bottom any freedom to escape. You do your transitions really well. You end up in north-south, and you find those submissions from there. This is a north-south choke. Here's a Kimura setup. So again, I'm using that same kind of frame to north-south transition into Kimura. There. So hopefully the lesson plan makes sense a little bit, but we did the escapes already, so that was Monday's class, and today we looked at the controls and transitions. So we had these main little positions here: side control, smart knee, cross chest, and reverse cross chest. So just to quickly recap, we had side control to cross chest, which is here. And then to blend it all in terms of attacks, when you get to here, you have to choose between one of your game plans, which is submissions or some form of progression, which we took a look as well for each one of these. So we had one for cross chest, we had one for reverse cross chest, which was our north-south attacks or mount transitions. Time to go for reverse cross chest when they frame you. Our underhook game plan, which was someone underhooks you. We dealt with it many ways. Again, we had submissions or transitions, or pinning down, which is this one. Knee on belly, same thing. You can choose to go to knee on belly anytime, but underhooks, when they bench press you, those are good times. Here's our windshield drill. This is just to cause a little bit of movement on the person. We had our back doors, escapes, and how to deal with it, which was using the bread cutter kind of positioning to kind of control the person. Beautiful. And then our side control kind of attack. Here's a quick recap of it, which is nice. These are controls. These are kind of our transitions. And then these are submissions. I did right here. There's so many submissions that you can go for. But try to find like 3 little setups that you have mastered, so that you can always go for them without thinking. And then the ones we took a look at was kind of like static forced ones, which was standard armbar, which is here. And then the kind of transitional, kind of active version of them, which was kind of popping your belly. She turns, go for the submissions. And we saw the same example a few times with different submissions. There's an example of like a static one, which is a baseball choke. And then a reactive one, which is like a guillotine. She underhooks, go for a guillotine. Another reactive one on my platter. Boom. North-south one, that's kind of a static one. You go to north-south, keeping all the pressure you can. And then you kind of set up Kimuras as well. Yeah, this is Kimura setup. And that's pretty much it. But again, they all follow these kind of positions. And then you've got your forcing the turtles, if you want to get good at that, where you're just focused on back takes. You got mount transitions, if you just want to focus on that. And there's tons of versions of it. But yeah, once you get side control, if you master these systems, you should be able to find more submissions and kind of have a little game plan in mind. That does conclude today's lessons. If you got any questions, fire them away. But this should be a quick little understanding of the side control lesson and a good recap. But you can see, if you know a lot of both knowing the escapes and the control on top is really important. It'll help you both ways, because if you know what the guy on top is going to do one step ahead, you can kind of dictate the escape you're going for. So always kind of focus on the escapes at the same time as the top position, because most good players from top, they just know how to deal with every single escapes. And most people good at the bottom, they know how to deal with all the top pinning positions, or they know their escapes really well. Alright, but that is today's class. It should be up on YouTube soon. Let me see if I have to add anything else. I don't think so. I think that was everything. But lovely seeing you guys. I'll see you both next. See you guys on, is it Monday? Monday, yeah. Have a lovely week. And I need to take Chubby on a walk now. Go for a walk. I'm gonna say bye to Chubby. Let's see. She gets a big hit on you. Chubby, come here. dude. Why are you so lazy? She's probably gotten like 2 kilos more since last time she came. She's living up to the name now. Chubby. Say bye, Chubby. Kuya! Where's Kuya? Where's Kuya, Chubby? I don't know. You wanna go for walkies at the park? Okay. I'm going to the park. Alright, see you guys. Take care. That is Chubby.